Welcome to this week's episode of Car Stars and Roll Bars. I'm Mike Kinney, your host. And each week we talk a lot of the movers and shakers and what's going on in the hot rod automotive realm, like we call them, the celebrities, the people, the collection, the manufacturers. And today, we are so thrilled. What a better way to kind of kick off our new season. We have the one, the only John Buck with the one, the only Grand National Roadster Show. I think we call her the Granddaddy. She is the Mac Daddy, in my humble opinion. John was born in Pomona, California, and raised in Claremont. He went to high school and met some of his lifelong friends. He graduated from the University of Southern California as a business major and a minor in marketing. John started his career in the hospitality industry, working for hotels and eventually the Los Angeles Convention and Visitors Bureau. And then he became the director of sales at the Fairplex in Pomona. And while working the Fairplex, he negotiated the move of the Grand National Roadster Show. Every time I say that phrase, all I can do is grin. From the San Mateo fairgrounds to Pomona. That was 19 years ago. John purchased the rights to the Grand National Roadster Show up to the second year in Pomona. And the drive-in and the Suede Palace at the Grand National Roadster Show are both creations of John's, and that's two of my favorite places to hang out. John is blessed to work with his sister Laura and good friend Michi, Kevin, Greg, and Tom. He has beautiful wife Deborah and two children, Daniel and Sara. And as he's been known to say more than once, the Grand National Roadster Show is an honor to own and produce. What makes it even more fun is having some of the greatest people in the world to help, and it makes it easier to do. John, welcome aboard, man. Thank you so much for fitting us in. You're not too far out from your shows. I know you got a lot going on today. So how you doing, brother?
Yeah, it's going to be a busy next 3 weeks.
So I got to ask before we jump into the deep end of the pond, because we always have a few questions kind of straight. So how's it going for this year's Grand National? I imagine your phone's been lighting up. People are beating on the doors.
Hey,
saying,
it's going great.
Excellent.
We're a full show.
Wow. Excellent. So what's the dates this year? Because we'll remind people a couple of times.
January 28th through the 30th, the last weekend of the month at the Fairplex in Pomona, and you don't want to miss it.
Absolutely. We've been there many times. I tell you, John, it's just, we got to go over Cajon Pass to come see you guys, but it's always worth the drive. And for the viewers today, and you'll see this runs for a long time, this is one of those you got to go. It's the quality of the cars you have, the celebrities you have. And John, you've kind of figured this out after 19
Mike,
years.
it's breaking up on you.
I'm sorry, buddy. We'll persevere. And over the years, you've kind of figured this out. This really just becomes a celebration of the car realm, because you have a little bit of everything, right?
You bet, man. Everything from this year, we've got a Volkswagen from Billy Gibbons. We've got cars from Joe Rogan. We've got Kevin Hart. He's got a muscle car that's going to be there. It's going to be the who's and what's. Actually, Billy Gibbons is being inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is kind of exciting this year, along with Eric Peratt of Pinky's Hot Rods out of Denver, Colorado, and Roger Odell out of Southern California here. Wow. So
it's excellent mix. And again, when you go to the Grand National Roadster Show, another reason I like to go, you don't know who you're going to find or who's going to be there, because candidly, everybody's there on one of the days, and the recognition you're going to be able to provide this year, as usual, is going to be off the hook. So kind of stepping back, kind of open up your skull a little bit. So what do you like best about being a promoter?
I think you asked what I liked best about the show. The show is just a great reunion of great friends like yourself and others who are in the car industry, and it's just so neat to see these builds that these guys have done, and they're pushing the limits on the engineering and the styling of these cars, and it's just great to see them pulling it all together, from interior to paint to how it was even Swoopy, just to get there on time is a feat. And once they're there, it's just kind of let your hair down a little bit and see your friends and buddies. And hey, the best car wins, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, the swoop he's talking about is our 47 Radical Full Custom. John, your team is very kind, gave us a very nice spot. And yeah, we're wrenching on the car in the parking lot, after you got it out of the trailer. Everybody's, oh, you got plenty of time. I says, no, you don't. Not when you're getting ready for Grand. You got to plan early. So with your participants and like the attendees, what's some of the favorite feedback, some of the favorite responses they're going to, what they like about it, why because you've got people that come back every year. So why do you think they keep coming back?
Mike, I think the people that are in the show, the participants, they love the fact that it's a place to gather with your peers, and it's a great place to look at new cars and get new ideas, and then with over 300 vendors there as well, opportunity to maybe do some shopping, get some new parts,
Absolutely.
new projects.
I think that's kind of half the fun of it, right? So as far as being a promoter, separate from the show, what do you like best about it? Because you're kind of working on this, I think, about 400 days a year, near as I can tell.
Yeah, we're constantly working at it, and it's I think that my favorite part is just seeing the floor after I lay out the floors and make sure that my one of my favorite guys was Blackie Jajian, and Blackie always taught me, hey, listen, make sure that you don't have a light car next to a light car unless they're together, and make sure that there's not a black car next to a black car. And so, you see these colors and these styles and different types of vehicles, from whether it be a truck or a custom or a hot rod or motorcycle, and you see pictures of them, but until it's actually laid out and they're in front of you in 3 dimension, it's pretty awesome to see it all kind of happen.
And that's great, Fred. You mentioned Blackie, and there's a short list of people, and you're on that list as well, that I just really hold in high regard. And Blackie was so talented. And I remember he and I met SEMA, and he was fascinated with Swoopy. And he said, okay, here's what you do and don't do with the color of the carpet. Things I would have never thought about. And as usual, he was absolutely correct. Yeah. So to kind of get to know John Buck a little better, what other hobbies do you have, if any, beyond setting up this amazing roaster show every year?
Right. With COVID this year, believe it or not, I got myself into doing some puzzles. I've got
Really?
a puzzle that I'm working on. It's over 33,000 pieces.
What?
Believe it or not, Mike. And I have a pool table, and I lay this piece. It's 18 feet long by 5 feet.
Oh my gosh.
Other than Showtime.
Wow. So it's 18 by, is it a picture of the Titanic? What is it?
No, it's a wildlife picture, but it's got all kinds of animals from all over the world on it. It's fantastic.
Oh my goodness. So when you get done, you're going to take a picture of it and mount it on the wall? I mean, you got to have proof of this.
I'm going to mount it on one of my garage walls.
Exactly. And a good friend of yours, Vaughn Hot Rod, he's going to be on our show before too long. And I get a kick out of Vaughn when you go in his house, in his living room, he's got a dragster mounted to the side of the wall. So it makes for great, it's a great conversation piece, right?
Yeah, it's pretty great. We go over there every Christmas and at Vaughn's house and he's got so much memorabilia in his garage, in the living room, in the dining room, and his wife Sandy used to work with me as well. She's phenomenal and just great people.
Well, absolutely. Vaughn's one of the best. And anytime we see each other at SEMA, it's a 30-minute discussion. We're going to start out hugs and see what's been going on. So as far as your family, we mentioned them in the intro. So what do they think about all this going on with the show? And did they think it was going to get as big as it is?
Yeah, my kids love the show.
Cool.
They grew up, you got to remember in 2008, our friends over at Extreme Automotive actually built me a company car, a
Yes.
1933 Ford Roadster in the show.
Right.
And they were, my kids were able to get in the car with me, and we started it up. I was able to drive that out of there. So they're huge fans, and they love the show business. They love the behind the scenes. That they love seeing their dad pull his hair out. So they're good.
And we're talking about our 47. And so I'm at Extreme Automotive. Phil and Mary, they retired and moved to Texas. Amazing family. I told them, well, you go there to get your car worked on. Mary bakes you cookies. I mean, it's just. And so we're going to do SEMA, right? So you were there for the unveiling, middle of Hot Rod Alley. And Phil told me, he says, we're going to be done Saturday. So you can pull it back to Vegas because you have to load Sunday for the SEMA show. We got done at 11:50 Saturday night. So we're rolling out at midnight. Phil looked me square in the eye and says, I told you it was going to be done on Saturday. So there's
That's
all
nuts, Mike.
there's just all the stories around it. So if you blow the dust off your crystal ball, where do you see your event like 5 years from now?
I didn't quite hear the question because of the phone connectivity, but I think what you had asked me is if where we see ourselves in 5 years, and we see this thing still growing, and every year there's something different. We've managed to create a feature room where this year it's going to be Volkswagens, air-cooled Volkswagens. And we're excited about that. We've got over 107 of them in the buildings, everything from Pink Lady from Bernd Carlson out of Sweden. Billy Gibbons has a car called the Pearl Necklace, that a bug that's coming. I actually have a Volkswagen that I started when I was 18 years old. It's going to be, it's 59 with the top cut off of it. It's a little bathtub. And so we're thrilled to have it. And it's one of those things that every year we just keep trying to improve on what we did the year before. And it's also the 90th anniversary of the Deuce, the 1932, which everyone knows, the little Deuce Coupe by the Beach Boys. So we're having a big outside drive-in for that. And boy, I got to tell you, the caliber of those cars are just phenomenal as well. We've got a big corral area with that SoCal Speed Shop and CW Moss is sponsoring, and it's going to be phenomenal.
And I think one of the Volkswagen, the buses, didn't they call it like a 23 window? I think it had that big barn window they called it on the back side.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've tricked out some of those and they bagged them, right?
We've got a few of those as well, and a few. Yeah. We even have some things, whatever that is.
Yeah. We remember. First time I saw one, I kind of went, what? But then, you kind of get used to it. So this is a great question for you, John. So again, looking over the hill, what kind of trends do you see coming out? They had the SEMA show here last November, just a few months ago now, and there is some emphasis on what's going on with the EV, the electric vehicles. They said, but overall, they don't see gasoline engines going away immediately. So what kind of trends do you expect to see in the hot rodding world in the next few years?
We're seeing some interesting trends in both muscle car and trucks, of all things. A lot of F1s, F100s, C10s, older 50s and 60s style Ford and Chevy trucks are and they're gorgeous. I mean, we have a lot of trucks this year at the show, and I'm kind of excited seeing that. The muscle cars, the Barracudas, the Camaros, the Mustangs, they're all there, but these trucks are coming out of the woodwork, literally.
And you're right. And somewhat you're seeing with the way they're doing suspension horizontal in the bed of the truck, so to speak, very innovative. When they get down, you're kind of stepping back and going, wow, you would never thought about taking that approach on a truck. And a lot of them, they look amazing. So another question I got to ask you, because you've got a great team of judges. I mean, just anybody in the world, I says, if you want to learn how to judge a show, go to Grand National. How do you select them, and how in the world have they been able to maintain this high caliber of selection? Because whoever, especially like the Amber Award, whoever gets that truly is that best roadster there. And I'm sure there's trade seekers, but how do you find such great talent to be your judges, and how do they go about and have this judging so equitable, for lack of a better phrase?
Yeah, the judging for both the America's Most Beautiful Roadster, the Amber, which is the best roadster in the show, is done by there's about 8 to 10 guys that are experts in the field, whether it's media, whether they're builders themselves, designers, judges from previous events. They all volunteer, and we're blessed that way. I mean, we've got just a handful of talented guys that do that. They also, the redesigned Slonaker Award is basically the award that's given for the best car in the show that's not a roadster. Both of those awards are sponsored by ARP, and they have increased the prize package to $12,500 for each award. So a total of 25 grand for the two winners there. And it's pretty cool to see the guys and gals even that come out and help with that picking and running the judging sheets. It's pretty amazing. Now the rest of the show, Brian Anderson is our head judge, and he goes all over the country and finds the best of the best to help him for judging the show. But Jim Carls is another gentleman's name that is just an amazing judge. Those guys have been doing it since they were youngsters. Their fathers taught them how to do it, so it's pretty neat.
Well, I remember one of the judges. I think we were at Grand, and we were close to the car, and he walked over and he had a little thin magnet, is covered in plastic. He says, "It's okay if I place this on your fenders, it won't scratch the paint," because he couldn't believe the car was all steel. And so just all those little techniques is, they're looking for true authentic builds, right? And so,
yeah, that was Mike. That was up in Sacramento.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was for the Barris Award. That was John Barris,
yes,
the son of Sam Barris, who was brothers with George Barris.
Yep.
And that was for him to ask you, which is great that he did. And John has since passed away, but that's the way that they old school used.
Absolutely, and demonstrates a small world. I was with John Barris when we auctioned off the Rose, and I think we might have been at Mandalay Bay years ago. And so I'm literally sitting beside him doing color with Brent Earlywine as the lead auctioneer for Cruise. And John was with us, and all the proceeds from the Rose went to a couple charities. So life can go full circle.
That's great. Yeah, John was amazing. Rose was a beautiful car.
Oh, yeah. My good. So out of all career paths, I got to ask, what decided, because you're director of sales at Fairplex, you got a really cool job, and you says, I'm just going to go ahead and buy me a show and become a promoter. What led to that? Because it's like we're saying, this job's now about 400 days a year. So have you got kind of a death wish here, John, or what's going on?
Yeah, it was an easy choice. Running the Fairplex itself and having 17 work underneath me was always quite a challenge. And this career path allowed me to be my own boss, work with family, and put on a great show.
Good for you. So as we get towards the tail end of the show, I got to ask, because we get viewers of all different groups here. I think we got to hiccup the feed, but that's all right. We're going to persevere on. What kind of advice would you offer to someone who's earlier in their career and says, I really like the idea of becoming a promoter? What's some good tips of things they should consider or what they should avoid?
They should listen to their heart and go for what they enjoy. Work hard and always listen to your customer. Be passionate about what you do. And plug away at it. It takes a lot of practice, but Absolutely. Practice makes perfect.
So who is this one's going to be tough, I'm sure, because it'd be hard for me. Who is your favorite mentor that's helped your career and your trajectory where you've landed, in this case, with the Grand National Roadster Show?
It must be Blackie. He was just an incredible guy. He had a lot of charisma. He was the winner of the 1955 trophy, the Amber Trophy, and just he he was the only guy that I knew that had a special invite event, and you had to hold your breath when you got there because he placed cars one by color and style, and he wanted to park each one of them on the carpet the way that he wanted it parked, and he was just an amazing guy.
And with Blackie, just because I'd see him at SEMA and I'm doing the different events. And tell you what, we're going to tell you what, believe it or not, we're towards the end of the show real quick. John, one more time, what's the dates and how can people find more about the Grand National Roadster Show? Yeah. Hey, John, we're getting towards the end of the show. What's the dates once again, and how can people get a hold of you to learn more? Yep. Every once in a while, the technology wizards aren't working to our ability. Grand National Roadster Show last weekend of January, Pomona, California. Google, it'll come up. John, you'll be able to see all this later. Thank you so much for being on the show. Until next time, enjoy the ride. Bye-bye for now.